don't trip
First
on
of all,
this
how's
one.
Bud feel?
He's doing better. We can talk
Okay,
about it
just,
in the break. Yeah. Okay.
Robert, thank you.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, Rob.
Okay. Yeah, Rob, thank you. There's a picture here. I took some pictures when I was with Ollie in 2001, and it'd be better later to show you where the limos were and what's what. Okay? I'll give them to you later, all right?
Okay, thank
There
you.
were about 15 to 20 limos, and I saw them when I came back from witnessing Linda, Superwoman, traveling up a beam of light with the three dwarfs that were aliens. Like Robert, I thought it was a movie. Originally, what drew me to Bud, which is important, was I was constantly having repetitive dreams of two dreams in particular, but one was a light in a window, and I was seeing this light in the window a lot in my dreams. And times I'd be woken up, my heart would be pounding out of my chest, and I didn't know what it was all about, but it was just one of the dreams was this light in the window. It was going on for about 11 and a half years. I was driving my wife and children crazy. Daddy, Mom, he's talking about the light again. Dad, you get the idea. Well, I'm watching TV about 5 years ago, a little over 5 years ago. Well, 5 years ago, actually, to almost the date. And on the TV, there was a show about 3 sightings, the one in Betty and Bonnie Hill, the one with Travis Walton, and then I hear about one in New York City, and I said to myself, I follow UFOs, I've had an interest, like most people, I imagine, and they mentioned one in Lower Manhattan. I said, yeah, I didn't know there was one in Lower Manhattan. I look over at the screen, and the first thing I see is a computer graphic mock-up of a light in a window that I've been looking for 11 and a half years. Sue, my wife, who I was driving crazy, kept walking because I wanted to show her the picture. So I more or less missed what the segment was about, but I heard Bud's name. I eventually went out and got the book, started reading the book. Excellent writer, besides being a real gentleman. And halfway towards the book, I got to the chapter of the woman on the bridge. And I started reading a letter from Janet Kimball. And when I read that letter, my life changed in a way that I can get into for hours, but my life changed. And I realized that I thought at the end of the book, which I had a whole lot of time picking back up and reading, it mentioned that Bud was looking for people who might have seen this. So I gave Bud a call, and he came over, and I explained to him that I was on the Manhattan Bridge, and I saw the same exact thing Janet did, and my thoughts were even the same. I was thinking they were filming Pinocchio or whatever. But I was traveling back from Brooklyn. I was 3/4 away over the Manhattan Bridge. The truck died. I went to put on my emergency lights. I noticed all my lights were out, and then I looked to see who was going to pile into me, and all their lights went out, and they slowly came to a halt, and they stopped. It was as if I was passing out. Turned back because I saw lights flashing, red beam traveling all over the place. The red beam turned to a greenish-white beam, focused in around one building, and was traveling around the building. As it was traveling, I was trying to say, boy, that's a powerful light, and it doesn't look like a spotlight because it's changing its diameter, and it's not on the ground. And the light finally, oh, this is an important part. When I said to myself, what building is that? The light shot down to the street level and ran the whole length of the block. And the building has gates on it that are very distinctive. And I knew right away what building it was. So I said, I know what building that is. I've seen that building for years. But I've forgotten about it. I couldn't remember where I saw the light and what building. So I knew what building it was. And the light went back up to a window.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. Thank you, kid. It's good to see you.
But you know what I want to ask you?
Anything you can.
Don't say who he is, because if he finds out, he might sue you.
Oh, well, yeah.
He's a New York Post journalist. Tell them what he said to you, what happened, that he
you're
was the one
worried?
that...
You think I should worry about this gentleman's suing me for what? Tell me the truth.
Well, I'm using his name.
He did.
But that's up to you. That's up to
Thank
you.
you for the
But
consideration. I
tell him
understand.
about it.
Okay.
This journalist,
Yes.
famous journalist.
Yes,
from the New
Steve
York Post.
Dunleavy. He's a friend of mine.
Yeah, go ahead.
We went to different schools together. He's a noted journalist, and I've been in touch with him many times, so I have nothing to fear from the press. As a matter of fact, I welcome the press. that's why I'm here. Well, basically why I'm here is because I love this country. But more than I love this country, I love the Constitution of this country. And it's not being protected for my children. That's why I'm here. Now, Mr. Dunleavy was there, along with Robert and everybody else in the delivery department. Bud, in page 360, in a chapter called Expressways and Blind Alleys, thought that the New York, was informed, I guess, that the New York Post usually has a skeleton crew and there's not many men around. But this night was a famous night at the New York Post, which is the oldest paper in America. They inserted a comic section for the first time, so everyone who worked in the delivery department, the mails department, the press room, had to be there at 2 o'clock in the morning. They all had it in the delivery department anyway. So you're looking about 60, 70 men with their trucks. Plus the diner was filled with people working in the diner. And there were many, many people, workers there. I found 3 that, well, there were other people besides Linda that were abducted that night. Now, as far as worrying about who, my friends, I'm concerned about.
And I think we'll have to save that.
No.
No, the thing is,
No, it's okay, we're gonna talk about it, it's not ladies' night out.
there's so many directions this case goes and so many threads. You could follow this thread and it could do it for hours. And what I think we're gonna do now is,
I just, let me say one more thing. I know you don't want me to say it.
because we wanna keep the case focused on Linda tonight.
Wait, no, not so much on me, but
Yeah.
that night, according to another witness who